Good morning to the world. Welcome to the second of many tier lists to come regarding the newly updated companies of Victoria 3's patch 19 through 198. Yet again, into the fray we go. Perhaps I am indeed a bit of a masochist, actually going out of my way to categorize companies in a tier list that is easily digestible with enough reasoning to explain why I like or dislike each company. Now, not everybody is going to agree, but I will do my best to showcase my reasoning. Anyhow, I do hope everybody does enjoy the video. Yet, before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to apologize to Andy. I actually wrote your name down wrong and I called you Andrew last video shoutout. Thank you again for being one of my YouTube Premium or Patreon members. Every single one of you is super appreciated and I cannot thank you guys enough. You are truly kings. Anyhow, let's get into the video. And here we are, the very first building, the very first company of this tier list is actually going to be an Argentina one. And I'm sorry guys, I'm not going to be pronouncing these very well. A lot of these companies are actually very difficult for me as an English native speaker to say in Spanish or Portuguese. I will give the best college effort that I can. You have to recognize that I'm not a native speaker and I'm doing this out of respect. I'm trying to pronounce it. I'm getting help trying to pronounce it, not just off of Forvo.com, but I also got a couple friends in my Discord who can help me along the way, and I hope my accent doesn't ruin it for you guys, but I am trying, I promise. Now, regarding Bunge, this is actually not a horrible company. Now, a lot of people will probably be taking a look at it and say, well, you're effectively ruining the food company, the basic food company, which is probably one of the best companies in the game because of the plus 5% birth rate bonus that you get with it. But with this one, you still get gourmet groceries, you still get access to food industries outsets on the outset, but on top of it, you get access to 2 farm types and you get access to fertilizer on top of that, which is actually really, really good for Argentina. Mostly because there are other companies out there that will cover the livestock for you, and if you're going for those companies, particularly the Sansinena company, you're probably not going to want to go for the food company. This will be a great wombo combo company. It's not a company that you're going to want to go conquering across the world for, though. Unfortunately, it has some very bad negatives, particularly in the fact that 2 of the buildings are farm buildings. I'm sorry, they're not super duper profitable. Even when you get commercialized agriculture, they don't end up super duper profitable, and that is one of the major downsides of it, but they are plentiful, so maybe that makes up for it. The next downside, obviously, is rural folk pop attraction. I'm sorry, I do not like the rural folk as an interest group. That is a negative. That is not a positive in my book. As such, I cannot give Bunge a particularly good rating. I would love to, I can't. So let's bring up the tier list now. Boom. Whoops, wrong one. That's not going to work. I'm going to actually have to bring it up, aren't I? Oh dear. Bing and ding dong. There she is. Isn't she lovely? I believe so. Anyhow, as for the icons, let's bring those up as well. Look at all those lovely icons we have set up already. Isn't she beautiful? Bunge copy, and we're going to bring back the tier list, and we're going to, boom, paste it. We're going to bring up to, I'm going to call this a B tier. It is a strong situational pick, and the reason why I say that's a strong situational pick is, again, it wombo combos with other Argentina companies, particularly the Compañía, Sansinena, and that is a great company by itself. This is more of an accompaniment. This is an accoutrement. This is something for the side. This is not something that you're going to want to take specifically out of your way. It's not like you're going to go to Asturias and pick up the Dairuka Companhia and, you know, conquer the state for this. You're not going to go out of your way to get this. This is something that is for Argentina and pretty much Argentina alone. And unfortunately, I cannot give it a better rating as a result of that. It is a relatively good company, but on the grand scheme of things, whether it's Argentina or for the world, I can't give it a high rating. It's a strong situational pick at best. Here we are with the Centro Vitivinícola Nacional. I am not a fan. You're probably going to notice a very common theme. There are some types of buildings that I just do not like. And unfortunately, two of those types of buildings are fruit buildings and wine buildings. Now, they are somewhat profitable. There's just one little tiny problem with them. There's not a huge amount of demand in the world for them. Unlike meat, which can be supplemented over time, especially if you could turn the meat into groceries with the production methods in the food companies, you can't really do that with wine. And unfortunately, as a result of that, I don't consider this a very particularly profitable building. This, I have tested it out. I gave it the best college effort I could. I became extremely close with France. And, I mean, France is literally the only country I think that gets a major boon for wine. And unfortunately, they grow their own. So they're not going to be importing a whole heck of a lot regardless. So there's just so many negatives associated with wine. I can't love it. And now it does have livestock ranches as its secondary. There's just one tiny problem. You're playing Argentina, and you have the Compañía Sansinena. What in the heck would you ever want this company for? For 20% prestige? I'm sorry, there's better ways of getting prestige. In fact, even the Argentina Orchards company, the agriculture, or no, the Plantation 2 company is better than that. At least you get sugar to go with it. Sugar actually is kind of good sometimes. But, I mean, you get two bad companies, or two bad buildings, and maybe sugar to go with it. But with this one, you get, I mean, why would you ever want this company? I'm sorry, I can't think of any situations where this actually does have value. I think this was kind of an overlooked company that should have been given something more, particularly in regards to the bonus. Now, 20% prestige is kind of worthless. I'm sorry, it is. There's so many other ways to boost up your prestige and prestige max in this game that the bonuses from the companies have better uses being put elsewhere, and if this can't be profitable, it's worthless as a company. I'm sorry. If the company cannot be profitable, what is the value of the company? The whole point of a company is to get yourself as much investment pool as humanly possible from your company headquarters. That's literally the whole point of a company in this game. So this fails on every level. This might actually be one of the worst, if not the worst companies in the game. I can't think of many companies that are worse than this one. Maybe the ones that give you shipyards and docks, but at least docks are somewhat useful. Maybe the ones that just give you specifically only shipyards and whaling companies. Maybe those ones are worse, but this one's really bad. This one's bad on a regional level because Argentina has way better companies like the Compañía Sansinena, which has overlap with the livestock ranches. At the same time, who cares about wine? I'm sorry, who cares about wine in this game? Wine is not useful. It takes so much effort to make it useful by forcing other populations to want it. France is really the only population that starts off wanting it. So, no value. I'm sorry, there's just no value to this one. So what we're going to do here is we're going to bring up our lovely, lovely little icons. We're then going to bring up our tier list. Now, icon, click. That is the Centro, Vitivinícola, Nacional. And then we're going to bring up our tier list, and ding! Fries are done, hopefully. And here we go. We are going to take this, and we are going to put this in the F tier. No way, no how am I going to give any flowers to this company. This is a bad company. It deserves no flowers. It doesn't deserve any respect. I'm sorry if you like it. I don't know why you would like it. There's so many better even the basic company is infinitely better than this company, so I don't know why you would like it. Here we go. This is the company that I had practiced my butt off to say properly. The Compañía Sansinena de Carnes Congeladas, and I'm willing to bet I'm saying it incorrectly. I'm sorry, guys. I really, really did practice. I wanted to say it perfectly every single time, but again, I'm not a native speaker, so I am going to apologize to you guys, but I gave it my best effort. Now, I love this company. I love this company. I'm going to give it a higher rating than most people would, specifically because of how much success I've had with this company. There's just one tiny catch, okay? Actually, no, there's multiple tiny catches, and this is probably why other people will not rate this one as high as I'm going to rate it. And the first catch is Basic Food Company is better. There's no question. Basic Food Company is better, and you're going to have overlap with the food industries on the basic food company, so a lot of people will probably prefer to take basic food company and then take the livestock ranches as their secondary in that case, so they can get the plus 5% birth rate. There's just one tiny catch. Basic food company gives you the groceries. This one gives you river plate beef. Now here's the catch. Sansinena Carnes Congeladas is super duper profitable. The amount of profit that you get from a prestige beef is darn well insane. I have never failed to make an insane amount of money off of this company. Unfortunately, you can't really take this company as your first pick, and the reason why you can't take it as your first pick is because you got to have all of Buenos Aires to be incorporated. If you cancel the colony, you lose the whole state. So you have to wait until you have all of Buenos Aires, and unfortunately, even when you ramp up your colonization to level 5, or level 3, I guess, but you know what I mean. Even when you ramp up your colonization, it takes forever to take Buenos Aires. I don't know why it takes so long. I've never been able to take this as my first company. It's always my second company, or later, depending on how fast I go. So there are other bonuses to this, and this is something that people don't think about. This bonus right here, trade advantage bonus, is actually really, really good. Again, it determines the import price and the export price for a particular trade center, but here's the catch. The amount of goods traded is also directly affected, and that is huge when you're dealing with beef, because beef is produced everywhere. However, you have prestige beef, and by having prestige beef and an advantage over trade over every other country as a result of trade advantage bonus here, and this is for everything. This is everything, not just beef, but for everything. So your tools, your paper, everything all put together. Trade advantage is that dang good, and it does build up, and it's cumulative with all other bonuses. So I think it's additive too, so that's even better. And it builds up to a point where you're going to be able to dominate the beef market without even trying. River plate beef will be all over the world, and that is the only reason I would pick this company over the awesome basic food company as Argentina. Now, I wouldn't go out of my way to conquer Buenos Aires just for this. In fact, I think you have to have all of La Plata. Maybe not. But again, you'd still have to wait for Argentina to finish, colonizing all of Buenos Aires before you can conquer it. Or I guess you could probably incorporate it before you continue the colonization. But I think that happens automatically, so yeah, this is not an easy company to get in the first place, and it's not one you're going to go out of your way to conquer. So even though I'm going to give it a good rating, I can't give it an S rating. It's not meta by any measure. This is a personal favorite, okay? This is one where I'm probably going a little out of my way here to give a little too much credit to. I think it deserves to be a personal favorite personally, but that's because I'm very biased. I can't help it. So here we go. We're going to copy, and we're going to bring up our lovely little tier list. Where's my tier list? Boom. And bring up the tier list. Done. Now, where is this going to go? This is going to go into the A tier. It is really, really good. At least I think it is, anyhow. I'm a very big fan of it. But only when I'm playing as Argentina or maybe Chile or another country that can pretty much conquer Argentina right away. Although, again, you're probably not going to want to conquer Argentina right away, because if you do, they lose the claim over La Plata, and then Britain will literally come in and colonize everything for you, and that sucks. So, again, even if you do go for this company and you beeline for it, you might not get it for your first company. You might not even get it for your second company if you're a different country like Chile, because then you have to rely on Argentina to do the colonizing, and they take forever. But yeah, good company, definitely not a meta, but it is strong. It's stronger than people would probably assume it to be. And here we are with the Ferrocarril Centro Córdoba. Now, I practiced the everlasting hell out of this one. Unfortunately, I don't really think it deserves to be practiced all that much. Here's the catch. Railways are rarely very profitable companies, and typically you're kind of using them specifically to shore up your infrastructure. So you're not worried about the actual profitability of each building, and I guess there are a lot of benefits to having the railway as a building in your private sector that's being built at 60% construction bonus. But Unfortunately, because of the lack of profitability, because of the lack of extra industries, but I mean, you're gonna have way better motor industry companies out there. You're gonna have way better coal mine industries out there. So it's literally just gonna be the railway when you take this. And unfortunately, there's nothing else to it that really helps it out. Obviously, the wheat farm building throughput is kind of bad. The livestock ranches building throughput is okay, but it's not good enough to make up for all of the deficits that you're going to be facing by taking this company. Now, there are some situations where I can see this actually becoming somewhat useful, particularly in the case if you're conquering the world and you end up taking a bunch of states that have like 400 infrastructure out of needing 1,500 infrastructure, and all of a sudden your private sector is just going absolute ape regarding just building in a state that you just took with a minus 33% unincorporated penalty, and then on top of that you got all of these turmoil penalties, and you're going to be minus 95%. So yeah, having that plus 60% can be a boon in that case. Having plus 60% in general for railways is a boom, but you're still relying on the private sector to do the building for you. And if you're doing infrastructure, you don't want to rely on the private sector to do the building for you. In fact, this is one of the few things that I would suggest people build themselves 99% of the time. I actually suggest to people, maybe if you're running into problems with the private sector building in a minus 95% state with frickin' railways, why don't you monopolize it? Don't let them build it, period. Do it yourself. So this goes against that theory entirely, and it doesn't bring many benefits. I'm not bullish on this company. I'm not at all. I don't think it's the worst possible company out there. Obviously, there are situations where having railway at 60% construction bonus is helpful. The throughput bonus is helpful. I mean, I think that even helps with the amount of infrastructure that you get, which is very, very, very helpful. Overall, for the sake of extra infrastructure, you would need less railways overall. Unfortunately, as I stated before, typically, I don't like the idea of relying on my private sector building the railways for me. If I could get the construction bonus specifically for when I'm building it myself, this would be an entirely different story. I would put this in the S tier. I'm not even kidding. But because you're relying on the private sector to do it for you, and the private sector is so bad at it. Oh, it's so horrible at it. I can't give it its flowers, and I can't, and because it's not a profitable company by any measure. Even if you take motors, you're ruining your chance for taking a better motor company, like the automobile company, or like the Skoda Works if you're freaking Austria or something, and you're just coming over to conquer Córdoba and all that from Argentina. I can't give it its love. I'm sorry, guys. So let's bring up the icon list and click. Let's see here. Córdoba. Okay. Bring up our tier list and swap out. Beautiful. Now paste. And unfortunately, my friends, this is going into the weak picks. Maybe you think it's a little bit better because railways are very hard to get buildings for in companies. But in this particular case, I find this company very, very weak. There are better railway companies out there, and this one is definitely not up there. For those companies, I might even give those better ratings. But again, railways are very hard to make profitable. And for that reason and that reason alone, I just cannot give it a huge rating. It doesn't even come with a prestige good, for crying out loud. Maybe if it came with a prestige good, I'd give it a better rating. But as it is now, no love. What do you get when you take the metal mining company and you make it worse in every imaginable way? Well, you get the Compañía Estañífera de Llallagua. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I gave it my best, guys. But here's the thing. This company is bad. Bad, 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 bad. And the reason why I say it's bad is because the basic company is infinitely better in every unimaginable way. The only benefit that you get from this is probably the industrialist political strength, but again, you're not going to run into that problem with Bolivia anyways, because I don't think Bolivia has any issues industrializing their country's laws. They're not in any situation where they really need this bonus, and you're not going to go out of your way to conquer for this company. This is not a good company by any measure. It will be somewhat profitable if you take iron. It'll be somewhat profitable if you take sulfur. But here's the thing. If you're going to go for sulfur, you're probably going to be wanting be in like Italy at that point, because that's where most of the sulfur is found in this world, and I can't give any love to this company. There's nothing to it. It's bare bones, and because it's so bare bones, it doesn't even have a freaking prestige good. Like, you get no bonuses for real. Like, you get a 10% lead mine throughput bonus. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. I know I run out of lead all the time, but you get company throughput bonuses anyways by taking it in the metal mining company. You get it from taking home goods company, okay? So this extra 10% really doesn't make that much of a difference, and is really 100% not worth picking up specifically for lead. It just isn't good. There's nothing good about it. So this is going to be a quick one. I don't think this one deserves to be talked about all that much more than this, beyond, you know, the difficulty in actually saying it. So let's bring up the icon, shall we? Ding. Copy, and let's bring up our lovely little tier list and do a quick swap. Boom. Now, paste. Here we go, guys. Another F tier. I'm sorry if you inexplicably like this company. I cannot understand why. This company has nothing going for it. Just take the metal mining company. It's so much better than this one. You get more buildings, you get more bonuses, you get more everything. Take the home good company. The home good company comes with glass, it comes with furniture, and it comes with lead. And on top of that, you get a huge prestige bonus. Oh, it's so good in comparison to this, which is just so bad. Oof, 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 oof. Ooh, here we go, a really hard to say one. The Compañía de Salitres y Ferrocarril de Antofagasta. I hope I got that one correctly. Now, here's the thing. This one isn't all that bad. Again, the last two companies that we did, we pretty much went into detail about all the things wrong with it, particularly the lack of profitability, the fact that railways are very, very hard to make full use of in building in companies. But here's the thing. This one has a wombo combo involved in it, which actually makes this a somewhat decent railway company. Bolivia finally got something good happening to it. I can't actually believe it. Bolivia has been nerfed into the ground in 1.9. It's like they've had a personal vendetta against poor Bolivia. They get attacked in every single game now by Chile and Argentina and Brazil and Ecuador and Peru, and they're beset by all sides right now, so it's actually nice to see them get something good for a change. This is one of the better railway companies in the game. The reason why? You get access to 3 different things, okay? If you're not going to take metal mining, if you're not going to take, like, steelworks, this is actually a really good company to take. Reason why is because, again, you get sulfur, which is profitable. It's not super profitable in South America, unfortunately, but it is profitable. But iron is super duper profitable in South America. And again, railways are nice to have as a company, and you can somewhat make use of it, especially since you're wombo comboing it with an extra infrastructure bonus on top of a throughput bonus. Okay, so you're getting double the throughput bonuses on your infrastructure, and it really does collect up. It really does add up. The industrialist approval is very nice too, believe it or not. This is one of those rare companies that makes your industrialists just so happy that they're pretty much guaranteed throughout the rest of the game, even when you become trade unions at the end of the game, that they're going to be at least not angry at you. But if you play relatively play nice with the industrialists, you'll be getting the investment pool bonus from them for the entire game. And everything about this company makes the railway company better. So unlike the last railway company that we talked about, this one actually does have some use. It's not a great amount of use. It's not something I go out of my way to get. I definitely wouldn't conquer just specifically to get this one, like taking Antofagasta. Again, is not something I would go out of my way to do, especially since I'd rather probably keep these countries intact for the specific purpose of keeping them for mandate points, because you want them to have minor power status at the very least. So again, I don't like taking land from South America. I'd rather keep them as minor powers in my protectorate range, so I can get my mandate points for my power block, and then, you know, at the late game, you're not even going to worry about any of this. This is just an aside at that point. So, unless you're playing as Bolivia, this is probably not a company that you're going to want to go for. But if you are playing as Bolivia, I actually would not consider this a horrible, horrible company to pick. I'm going to bring up the icon list now, and we're going to Copy, and then we're going to bring up our lovely little tier list and swap it over. Boom. Now here's the thing. Again, I don't think it's a bad company. I think it's weak. It's a situational pick, but it's not bad. It's not super duper weak. It's not a bad pick. It's very situational. It's a Bolivia only company. It's not one you're going to want to conquer for. But again, there are worse rail companies out there, so again, it's worth it. I think so. So I think it deserves a C. Okay, here we go, our first military company of this tier list. Now, you know how I feel about military companies. They do give you a very minor, generally around 8% to 12% on your final troop type, particularly mechanized infantry, but I'm not a huge fan of giving up the profitability of a company for the sake of a minor bonus regarding your offense and defense, especially since at the end of the game, if you're tech rushing anyways, you're going to have way more offense and defense than your enemies, probably at around the 170 range by the time you get chemical weapons. If they don't have chemical weapons, you're beating them anyways. That extra 8% is not going to make a difference. It's nice to have, but is it worth giving up profitability? Now this one, thankfully, has some profitability. Explosives, believe it or not, are an extremely profitable company. I made a mistake in my previous tier list, and I'm going to put this out there. Munitions plants, the munitions company is fan-flippin-tastic. Explosives are better than I thought they were. I wish I could go back and redo it, because I think the munitions company deserves to be in an A tier, not in an F tier that I gave it. So this one is actually going to be dragged up from an F tier, specifically because of the explosives factory. But again, why would you take this company if you could just take the munitions company, the basic munitions? Basic munitions gives you the high grade explosives instead of a high powered small arms. You don't get any real offensive bonuses from this company, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of taking an offensive or a army oriented company. You get livestock ranches throughput bonus, which is weird to me. You get fertilizer plant throughput bonus, which is extremely weird to me. This one just doesn't have any synergy with itself. This one is just kind of odd. I don't know how else to put it. If it wasn't for the fact that it had explosive factory, this would be an F tier. The fact that it has explosive factory, obviously it's not as good as munitions plant. Given the choice, you're probably going to want to go for the basic munitions plant every single time. You might even, if you're going to go for an army type company, you're probably going to want to go for the basic firearms company, where you get the 5% offense bonus on top of the prestige good of a high powered small arms. This one doesn't have any other bonuses that really work with it, and despite the fact that it has explosives, doesn't really pull it that far out of the depths of despair. So let's bring up the icon list here. Ding. The Amadeo Rossi and bring up our lovely tier list. Click, click, and boom. Where shall I put it? I'm going to probably put it, I would like to put it right between C and D. Okay, I can see some use for it if you're playing as like Argentina and you're trying to maximize the amount of beef that you're getting. So you're going to just stack throughput bonuses. That's one way you can make use of this company. But because it's not even in Argentina and you have to conquer Brazil to get it, oof, I think it's a weak pick. I think it deserves to be in a D tier. And it just doesn't have any synergy. So it doesn't really deserve to be highlighted. It doesn't deserve its flowers. It deserves to be forgotten. There are better company versions out there of this type of company. I would take those instead. Oh boy, here comes one that I'm going to have a hard time with. I'm going to have to do multiple takes on this one because I have trouble with Portuguese. The Compañía, Fiação e Tecidos de Pernambuco. I hope I did not butcher that. I put my best effort into this one. I practiced so much. But here's the thing. This company, despite its difficult name, is bad. I'm sorry, it's just bad. Okay, this is effectively the same as the basic textile company. And you get the livestock ranches, you get the textile mills, but you don't get the extra bonus with it. And I mean, I would rather have the political movement reduction than cotton plantation throughput and rubber plantation throughput. Rubber plantation throughput won't even come in use until like the mid-late game, and you're gonna probably take this company as your third, maybe fourth company, so maybe it's kind of useful at that point. But again, all it does is give you the same designer clothes as the other one, and I can't see any immediate real need for this company. I don't care about the textile companies either, so it's kind of just a toss-up at this point. The real benefit, obviously, is the fact you get access to the livestock ranches, but you get the livestock ranches with the other basic company where you can add, you effectively get this, plus you get your cotton with it, so that's a better company to take than this one. So this one just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. I cannot see the value of this company. I cannot see the use of this company. And the throughput bonuses are not enough to make up for that fact. There are so many other companies out there that are just better objectively, that this one just gets lost in the sauce. It has no immediate value to me. I can't see any reason why I would take this over some of the basic companies, to be honest. And again, why would you take a textile mill basic company anyways? There's so many other, great and easy to conquer companies in this world that would give you textiles. And just go conquer in Japan if you really want textile mills that badly, okay? So that's how I would see it. And I'm not going to Brazil to conquer for textile mills, especially if I'm gonna have to take Pernambuco, which is that weird state at the very north that has almost no population. Yeah, right here. Yeah, there's no population, so even then you're not getting a whole heck of a lot of use out of this. So, unfortunately, not a good state. It's not a good company. Not a lot of benefits working for it. There's not a great amount of synergy with it either. The only real value, I guess, is probably like the rubber throughput, but just take the logging company if you care that much about the rubber throughput. I mean, you get a better bonus from that anyways. So, yeah, that's just how I feel about this particular company. So let's bring up the icon list. Ding, ding, boom, copy. Bring up our lovely, lovely little tier list. And where shall I put it? Where shall I put it? Let's be generous here. Okay, let's be generous. Maybe if I can get this to actually work. Here we go. Let's put this right in the D tier. I'm not going to call it a horrible pick. It does have some use, but it doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of use. So I'm going to call that a bad, weak pick. I'm going to call it a weak pick. I'm not going to call it bad outright, because there are way worse companies out there. But this one definitely doesn't deserve its flowers, and my goodness, how long is it going to be until we finally get our first S tier here? I mean, how many companies deep are we? We still haven't got an S tier. South America needs a little love, I'm starting to wonder. Oh my goodness, here comes a company that was so bad I have to do a second take on this one because I ended up swearing. That's how bad this company is. The Estaleiro Mauá. I don't care if I didn't pronounce this one correctly because this company does not deserve respect. This is literally the basic shipyards, except instead of giving a plus 5% Navy offense, which is garbage in itself to be honest, you get literally less. You're taking the basic shipyard company, which is already top 10 worst companies in the game, and you somehow made it worse. Why would you do that to yourself? Why do you hate yourself? Why does Paradox hate South America this much? There should not be this many bad flavored companies in South America, and yet here we are. This is horrifying. This is probably the worst company in the game. I don't know for a fact. I haven't gone through every single company yet, but I'm willing to bet that this is probably right up there with the worst company in the game. You get a 10% on convoys. Whoopity-doo. Who gives a crap about convoys? I'm sorry. If you run out of convoys, just build more ports. Whatever. Not a big deal. If you're in a position where you need convoys for a plus 10% bonus, waste your mandate at that point. But even then, I wouldn't consider that to be a good pick. Oh, and the steel throughput? I mean, that's baffling. I don't get it. Obviously, there's probably historical ramifications for me saying that, because probably maybe this company is like a steel transport company or something in real life. I don't know. I don't care. It's a bad bonus, okay? The steel mill throughput is not particularly useful anyways, and if you cared that much about it, you would probably find a better company that would give you a direct bonus for it that doesn't destroy the profitability for the sake of it, okay? Yeah, you get logging camps, but guess what? So many better companies get logging camps. You got the paper mill company, you get the logging company, you get the home good company even, if you don't want to take lead at that point. What is the point of taking logging on this garbage company? You got 2 garbage buildings here. You got shipyards and military shipyards. No value there. Who in the heck cares about a company construction bonus for these 2 buildings? I mean, who actively wants to build these? The only time you ever want to build these is at the very beginning of the game when you don't already have them and you need to make your own navy. Okay, that's all. The only time I can think of it. In fact, I don't think I've ever actively desired to build shipyards before. I always leave it to my private sector because I overlook it. Usually I'm conquering places and I take it by accident and that's it. I don't think about it ever again. Same with military shipyards. The only time I really think about military shipyards is when I'm swapping off to ironclads. That's it. The only time I think about these 2 companies is when I'm swapping off to their higher tier ships. And they're just there. They don't make money. In fact, they're usually losing money, so defeats the purpose of a company, doesn't it? You might not even get to see the stupid bonus. These are such bad companies. And, again, why would you waste the charter? Why would you waste the authority putting a logging camp into this garbage company just to make it somewhat profitable? What a joke. This is a terribly designed company, and frankly, I don't know. I think this was an overlook. I think somebody overlooked this. Let's just bring this up here. Copy, and we're gonna bring up our lovely little tier list and paste, and there we go. Oh, get this icons down. Boom, better. I don't know. I'm putting this all the way over here. Okay, we're gonna take this and we're gonna put this in the Z tier. This is so bad that I don't even think it belongs in the F tier. It belongs in a tier of its own. It belongs in the G tier. It belongs in the Z tier. This triple Z tier. ZZZ minus alpha 1.9 awful tier. Like, this is horrible. I can't give this the company its flowers. In fact, I'm gonna give it the flower of death, man, because it deserves to just be forgotten about. And if you ever take this, you're obviously doing it as a troll. Or you're probably trying to give, like, you're in multiplayer and you're giving everybody else a handicap by literally having no profitability for the entire game for a single company pick. What a joke this company is. Just a joke. I don't get it. For some reason, when it comes to South America, they take the basic companies, they'll add a building to it, and then they make the bonuses infinitely worse. Okay? I don't understand it. If you're going to take this building, you're kind of ruining a bunch of the wombo combos that you're going to be taking. Yeah, you probably could take this and not have to take another company to make up for your coal. But there are so many companies out there who can make up for coal that this one just seems redundant. And I would, if you're really that worried about saving on the amount of companies out there, why don't you just take the United Conglomerate Company for the plus 20% state efficiency and you cover pretty much all of your construction goods, and the metal mining company to go with it, which covers all of your input goods. So this one has no immediate value as a wombo combo. The bonuses are baffling. The munitions plant building throughput and the arms industry's building throughput, bad. Just bad. Bafflingly bad. I mean, yeah, you get the prestige good to go with it, but you don't get the state construction. I would actually prefer the steel company. At least you get the state construction to go with it, and that is universal. That's for everything, not just the basic companies you get with this. And again, you get to probably take your coal with that one, and then you could probably take the tool company and then put iron mines on that one, and then you get your double wombo combo for those 2 companies, and you get both your steel and your iron, and you have no overlap. Whereas if you take this company, you're probably not going to want to take your tertiary, which is your coal mines, because you're going to want to, or I guess you can't even do that, because then you're not going to be able to make use of that with the tool company. So you're going to have overlap with the tool company, which means if you take this company, you don't get the tool company on top of that. You'll have to find a flavored version of the tool company out there to make up for your tools. This is a baffling company. This is baffling. This feels rushed almost. Like, this should be way better than what it is. It's still a good company though. Like, ignoring everything around it, this is actually a pretty good company just for the profitability alone. Obviously, iron, steel, and coal are amazing for profitability. The prestige good of refined steel is an amazing prestige good. In fact, I think it's the best prestige good in the game, personally. But, oh, those bonuses are baffling. This is just a baffling company. I want to give it a better rating. I really do, because, I mean, 3 construction goods. Why wouldn't I give it a good rating? But, oh, it's just so baffling. It's so baffling. I want to give it better, but, oh my goodness, I can't do it. I can't do it. So, we're going to bring up the icon list here, and we're going to bring up our lovely little tier list. Boom. Here's one that I might get yelled at for, because it is not that bad of a company. It is a strong situational pick if you're not taking any other, state construction type companies out there. But again, this pretty much precludes you from taking the tool company. You'll have to find another flavor version of the tool company out there to make up for it, or just not take it at all, which I would consider weird. But hey, you do you. Maybe you don't consider prestige tools to be worth your time. I do, though. I like them. I think they're probably top 5 prestige goods in the game. So, again, this one's very baffling to me. The bonuses are baffling. The fact that they put coal in there, they probably could have put something else in there to make it a heck of a lot better than coal. Even fertilizer would have been a fantastic, pick for that, other than coal, because at least you can make use of other types of buildings without having to deal with overlap issues. But you know what? If you can find a use for it, use it. It's a strong situational pick in that case. Alright, here we go. We are going for the Klabin Irmãos and Cia company. This is an intriguing company. This is a company that I kind of like. And the reason why, obviously, is because of the prestige good. Rosewood is a unique kind of prestige good. There aren't that many hardwood benefits out there. There's not many hardwood prestige goods out there. The problem with hardwood, obviously, is it's really only technically useful for luxury furniture. I'm not sure how it's used in the automotive industries. I'm guessing it's kind of useful for the automotive industries, but I'm not sure how. So I'm going to ignore that aspect. Obviously, it's good for your military goods, but who cares that much about the production for those anyways? I mean, they're easy to handle. So the real reason why I like the Klabin Irmãos and Cia company is because of how profitable it is. And this is one of those companies that if you're not going for the paper company, if you're not going for logging company, I don't know why you're not going for the logging company if you're not going for paper company, but here's the thing. You get sulfur on top of it by going for this one. That's really, really good. Putting these three together is actually exceptional because it makes your paper mill super duper profitable. And I mean profitable. So this is a really profitable company. It deserves a little bit of attention as a result of that, but its bonuses are really good too. I mean, 10%, tooling, workshop throughput is nice to have, but the real benefit here is, especially if you're playing as Brazil, plus 15 maximum infrastructure for population. That is gargantuan. It helps so much when you're playing as Brazil. You're going to want to take this probably as your first company if you do take this as a company at all. As Brazil, it's probably not a company you're going to want to go out of your way to conquer as another country, but it's very easy to do so. So if you really want that prestige hardwood, I mean, go for it. It'll be easy to trade. So, I mean, you're going to make a lot of money off a trade from hardwood at that point, especially with the prestige good. So you could corner the hardwood market very easily with this company. And everything about it just kind of synergizes really, really well. I got to give it extra credit for that aspect. I think it deserves a little bit of extra attention. Do I think it's a meta pick? Let's bring up the icon list right now, shall we? Here we go, Klabin. And let's bring up our lovely little tier list. And, oops, already up and decided to put itself on the S tier. I don't think it belongs in S tier. I think it's a strong pick. Do I think it's meta? No. No, why would I ever think it's meta? It doesn't deserve to be meta. It's not that profitable, and while it's easy to work, there are better companies out there. Like, even the basic logging company might actually be better than that. Obviously, you're going to want to probably take, like, maybe a different type of company to make up for the sulfur at that point, like maybe munitions. Again, I'm bullish on munitions now, so yeah, there are other ways to get what you need that you would get from Klabin, and I think this is just a really, really strong pick in general. I just don't think it's one that you're going to go out of your way to conquer for, although you could very easily conquer it from Brazil, because it literally doesn't matter. As long as it's a Brazilian state and you have 5 paper mills in it, you get the company. So you could just conquer anything and you would get it. But again, I don't think it deserves S tier. We're still going to have to wait for a final S tier for the South American continent. Oh, that poor, poor South America. Here we go, the Sao Paulo Railway Company Limited. This is another railway company in South America. I don't know why South America loves their railway companies so much, but here we go again. Thankfully, it has better bonuses than some of the other ones. Trade capacity is very nice. The coffee plantation throughput is okay. I mean, coffee isn't that super profitable to begin with, so it's not something I go out of my way to get a bonus for. Again, with the railway, you get access to logging camps, you get access to motor industries. Again, you could get better companies out there to match that aspect of it. So the Sao Paulo Railway Company Limited, it doesn't make up for a lot of the issues that you get with the railway company. Like, just railway buildings in general are not super duper profitable. The construction bonus definitely makes them go a heck of a lot faster, so that is kind of nice. But again, typically when it comes to railways, I don't like letting my private sector do the building. I actually will sometimes monopolize just to prevent my private sector from building these in general, because there's nothing that I hate more than a railway being built in a minus 95% construction state. I hate that aspect. You're literally looking at 10 years just for a single railway to be built. Don't let the private sector build the railways if you can handle it, unless you're like building a bajillion things all at once, in which case it doesn't matter. But again, it's not fun to look at an entire list up here of nothing but railways that are going to take forever to be built. And the trade capacity alone isn't going to be enough to make up for it. The other buildings in this company aren't going to be able to make up for it. The coffee plantation throughput definitely is not going to make up for it. I'm sorry, this company does not get a stellar rating from me. I'm going to bring up the icon list. Okay, and we're going to bring up our lovely, lovely little tier list. Click, click. There we go. And we're going to place Sao Paulo Railway in the D tier. It's not bad. It's not good. I don't think it deserves to be considered good. My goodness, there is a lot of weak picks and a lot of bad picks in South America, and we still haven't got our first S pick. What is going on in poor, poor, poor South America? Okay, here we go with one of the first companies in this game that you simply cannot delete when you start with. We're talking, of course, about the Hudson's Bay Company. It's literally a country in the game that you can play. That's literally it. And unfortunately for the country that you play as, you don't really get that many benefits from having the company itself. Britain gets a little bit of the benefits from it, and yeah, you definitely help out Britain when you deal with that, but the moment you make Canada, you become a Dominion anyways, and you break free once you get to that point. So Britain's benefit there does not really translate all that well. On top of that, the buildings that you get access to are not amazing, especially the food industries one. You're better off just taking the basic food at that point. The problem is you can't delete the Hudson's Bay Company when you start off as Britain. It's one of the negatives from starting off as Britain. And yeah, literally, it kind of precludes you from taking like the logging mill company. It precludes you from taking the food industries company. This company hurts. Yeah, it's somewhat good, you know, spread. It kind of forces you to take other companies at the point, but Select Fish as a prestige good is okay. It's not something I go out of my way for. The colonial generation is particularly good as Britain, especially since it means that you're going to be growing faster than everybody else no matter what. But it's not the end-all be-all of existence. The textile mill throughput is, again, it's okay. Everything about this company is just okay. It's not great. It's not something I go out of my way for. I'm not going to conquer the home countries for this company. I would conquer the home countries for British East India Company, but again, that's another company that'll probably disappear the moment India decides to have a hissy fit. So even that company's not worth doing it. So what's the point of these companies? They're just kind of there to be annoying. They're there to disappear. So let's put up the icon list. Let's see what we got. Boom. Bring her up, and let's get our tier list up. Ding, dong, ditch. Where am I going to put it? I'm putting... Oh, it's already in C tier. Well, we're going to keep it in C tier. Yeah, that's literally where it's going to go. I guess it meshed with all the other ones. I'm not even bothered fixing it. I don't care that much about it, unfortunately. So yeah, we're just going to leave it in C tier. That's where it's going to stay. That's where it's going to live. It doesn't deserve to be better. It doesn't deserve to be weaker. It doesn't deserve to be considered awful or great in any measure. It's just mid. And like I said, it'll disappear before you know it. So kind of a waste of a company. If you're starting off as Great Britain, I wish you could delete it and pick a better one. You can't. You're stuck with it. Dang, that sucks. Alright, here we go with a company that I actually consider to be somewhat decent. Now, the reason why I consider this one somewhat decent is it's effectively the tool company with motors attached. Yeah, you don't get as good as a throughput bonus. I'm not a big fan of agricultural throughput bonuses, to be honest. But it's nice to have. I mean, you're going to be a heck of a lot more profitable. You won't have to take... I would only take this company if you don't plan on taking the motor company later on. But that's kind of weird to me because that's one of the most profitable companies in the game. So maybe this isn't that amazing of a company. I will give it its flowers specifically because it's a heck of a lot easier to build than the motor company, and it happens a heck of a lot earlier, and you'll be able to get more use of your motor industries in the early game as a result of that. But again, that relies on a lot of what-ifs. But again, precision tools. Believe it or not, there's not that many precision tool companies out there. At least there should be more, but it just doesn't feel like there is. And precision tools are wonderful out there. I love those as a prestige good. This company is relatively decent. There's just one catch. You pretty much have to have to build this in Ontario. So you're probably not going to be conquering it as another country to make up for a lack of, really good tool companies. But again, is this company that worth it, especially since you have to build the motor industries instead of the tool companies to build it? No. It does have its value. I would consider this a very situational pick, a very strong situational pick. But again, the lack of proper synergy from the throughput bonus, the lack of benefit from how difficult it is to get in the first place, even though it does definitely come a heck of a lot earlier than some of the other motor companies out there. I guess maybe depending on how you're playing, you could make a heck of a lot of use out of it. But unfortunately for me, I can't give it a particularly high rating as a result of all of those what-ifs. So it becomes a situational pick. It doesn't deserve to be considered a bad situational pick, but it doesn't get to be considered anything better than just a situational pick. So if you're a big fan of the Massey-Harris Limited, sorry guys. It's pretty much for Canada only, which makes it just a situational pick. You're not going to really go out of your way to conquer Ontario for this. There are better tool companies out there that are much, much easier to get. Okay? I would probably just ignore this one and find a better one. Okay, here comes a controversial yet wonderful company. And the reason why I call it controversial is because, believe it or not, in multiplayer you're not getting this company. I'm telling you now. When it comes to multiplayer, chances are somebody bigger, beefier, and stronger than you is going to get this company. You're not going to have fun trying to get it. If somebody's playing Great Britain, they pretty much guaranteed to get this company every single time. Don't even try. It sucks. Sorry. If you're playing single player, go for this company every chance you get. If you have to, conquer Panama. If you have to, conquer Suez or Sinai. I love these companies. I really, really do. And the reason why isn't just because of the tax income. It isn't just because you get an extra company. It's not because you get wonderful merchant marines, which, believe it or not, makes it so that your minus 70% merchant marine issue only becomes a minus 50% merchant marine issue, which is better than it sounds. It's because trade advantage. I mean, this trade advantage is bonkers. When you mix it with both this and the Sinai, the Suez Canal Company, you're getting a 50% trade advantage bonus on top of every other trade advantage bonus that you get out there. Trade advantage is a huge, underrated bonus, and I love it. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Plus, on the same time, you don't have to give your not investment rights, whatever it's called, the one that gives you the trade rights or whatever, so that they actually build trade centers. You don't have to give that charter to another company. You get it pretty much for free by just taking the Panama Canal Company, which is an early mid-game company to get in the first place. So why would you bother giving access to building trade centers for the other companies in the early game when you don't really need them to do that in the early game anyways? It's very, very quick to build yourself. Just put a couple out there and you're fine. It's in the mid to late game that you really need trade centers to really, take over trade. And this company helps you take over trade, okay? If you're skipping over this company because it's such a pain in the butt to get, you are missing out on so many benefits. I know there are very, very exceptional players out there who poo-poo this company simply because they probably don't really trade all that much. But if you're a big trade player, if you're somebody who just has to have all the bonuses, you want to overtake every market that you can, you need this company. You need it. You need both of these companies. You need both Panama and Suez. 50% advantage, trade advantage is huge. Yes, 100,000 tax income is exceptional. The fact it doesn't take up a company slot, exceptional. But again, my goodness, that trade advantage bonus is huge. Huge. You're making more money off of your trades. You're trading more as a result of it, which means you're filling up more of these trade centers overall, and you're overtaking more markets. Everything about this is just perfect synergy. I love this company. It makes the mid-game a lot more fun because you kind of have a goal every single mid-game now. It doesn't make it so, I'll just do my own building and whatever. We'll wait until the end game to bother with any real conquest. Nope. Now you kind of want to take over Panama from New Granada before Britain can buy it. Okay? You kind of want to take over Sinai from Egypt before, Ottomans can conquer in, or Britain can buy it, or Germany forms and buys it. Oh my goodness. I love these companies. I take them every chance I get, and if I can't take them, I feel bad about it. I legitimately feel bad about it. I don't know if this counts as South America, though. This point right here, past Panama, is South America. This technically still counts as North America. This little cutoff point right here is it. So, sorry, South America, you still haven't gotten your first S tier. Sad. Very sad. But let's bring up the icons now, shall we? Yeah, I'm a little excited about this company. Obviously, I would be. Who wouldn't be? This is such a good company. It's worth taking every game. It really is. Let's bring up our tier list. Let's post it. And finally, we have our first S tier of the day. It took us forever to get there, but we finally got there, boys. Let's go. It is a well-deserved S tier. Yeah, there's super duper great professional players out there who just ignore it. But they're so good they don't need it, okay? For the rest of us, laymen, us journeymen, us people who are not experts by any measure, you're probably going to want this every single game. And I mean it. I mean it. Oh my goodness. I think I say this every single time, but this might be the worst company in the game. How do you take an existing terrible company and make it even worse? You don't even get shipyards as a base company, a base building in the Compañía Sudamericana de Vapores, okay? This might as well just go up in vapor, because this is god-awful. God-freaking-awful. Again, we're talking about another freaking port company that's absolute trash. Absolute trash, okay? Ooh, colonial growth speed. It's not even like the 0.10 that Britain gets from the Hudson Bay Company. No, it's 10%. Whoopity-doo, Basil. Who gives a crap? The convoys, awful. Just awful. And 1.9 convoys are an afterthought. You are not aiming for convoys. Maybe if you're playing 1.8, maybe this is somewhat useful. But no, in 1.9, this is pure trash. And you know it. Everybody knows it. And now you don't even get shipyards. You got to give up a freaking charter for shipyards. I don't know why you would. You'd probably be better off taking logging camps at that point. But, why would you even take this? I'm not even going to try to find it. The freaking basic shipyards company is actually 5 times better than this piece of garbage. This is, again, probably top 5 worst companies in the game. I'm sorry. If you, for some reason, like this company, I'm mocking you. I'm actively mocking you. I'm not giving this any more time. I'm going straight to the icon list. I'm bringing up that damn icon list. We're going to talk about a better company very quickly. Let's bring up that tier list. Oh god. Oh god, I can't believe I have to do this again. Oh my goodness, another Ultra F tier. This one deserves to be so far in the F tier, it doesn't even deserve to be with the other F tiers. The other F tiers are spitting on these two F tiers, okay? These are so bad that these ones are mocking them. It's just a joke. I don't know why they even put these stupid companies in the game. They deserve no flowers, no respect. Ignore them. Oh my goodness, we go from one of the worst companies in the game to inexplicably one of the few companies that makes me eat my words, okay? You know how much I absolutely 100% hate army companies. Rarely does it exist that there's an army company that gives you everything that you could ever want in an army company, okay? It gives you access to everything that you're going to need for your army, okay? You're getting munitions, you're getting your lovely artillery, you're getting your arms, and you're getting explosives as a charter. But not only that, you get double the bonus of the basic army company, you get a steel throughput bonus on top of it, and you get the baseline high-powered small arms good. Wow. Okay? I'm gonna do something very... Okay, I have to do this. And the reason why I have to do this is because we have gone too long without South America getting an S tier. Okay? This is going to probably be one of 3 army S tiers in the entire game. And I'm probably pushing it here. This probably actually does belong in the A tier, but the only reason I'm doing this is because I think South America finally, after all this time, deserves an S tier. And this is a fantastic army company. If you're taking an army company, okay, you are conquering Santiago. If you're taking an army company, this is such an easy state to conquer that is actually improving my value of this company, okay? You have zero effort conquering Santiago. I don't care what country you are. You could be the United Tribes and you could conquer Santiago, no problem. You could be Yamayan, conquer Santiago, no problem. You could be Bagirmi, conquer Santiago, no problem. The only country I think you might have trouble with is Buganda, because they'll have a hard time getting to the shoreline. That's the only country. Every other country can conquer Santiago without even trying, because Chile is a pushover in this game. Everybody goes after Chile for their mandate points, but you know what? If you want an army company that badly, you cannot go wrong with taking... Just take Santiago. Just take Santiago and then give them the rest of the South America and La Plata. Okay? That's all there is to it. Here's the thing. This is such a good army company. If you want an army company, this is one of the ones that you're going to be aiming for. And you're going to go out of your way to conquer for it. Now, what I consider meta in this game is a state that you're going to go out of your way to conquer for if you want it. Okay? You're not always going to want Dura y Compañía. You're not always going to want, like, the steel mills in Navarra. But if you want them, you're going to go out of your way to conquer them. This is one of those companies that is super easy to conquer. And it's super effective and super profitable, believe it or not, because explosives are super profitable. They really are. This is actually easy to get the bonus on. And that 10% offense is so much better than 5% offense. And you get the bonus from this, that's 8% on average. Yeah, this is a good company. I normally crap on these types of companies, but this is such a good company that it deserves its flowers. I think this belongs in the S tier. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to it, click. We're going to bring up our tier list, click, and... we're going to place it, click, S tier. Finally, South America, after all this time, gets its first S tier, and believe it or not, it's an army company. And normally I crap all over army companies, but this one just has so much coverage for buildings. It has so much offensive potential, bonuses. Oh my goodness. If you're going for an army company, this is one of the ones that you're going to aim for. Any country can get it, okay? The moment you get a shoreline access, you can take this company. Because Chile never becomes super powerful. It's almost impossible for Chile to become powerful. So, again, any country can get it. So this belongs in the S tier for that reason and that reason alone. Well, here we are. El Aguila. What's there to say about this company? It's an oil company that's not any like, I mean, yeah, it's somewhat better than the actual oil company. The actual oil company only gets access to coal, while this one gets access to power plants. There's not a whole heck of a lot of power plant companies out there. The problem is power plant companies are a pain in the butt to build. But for the sake of the fact that you can mix and match both oil and power plants together, I'm going to give this probably a better rating than it probably deserves. I know people are probably going to actually argue with me on this one because power plants are not super duper profitable. But again, there is that lovely +3 industrialist approval, and in the late game, you're going to have a harder time getting them super duper happy with you. This is one way to keep them at least not angry at you. And you're going to want oil productive bonuses anyways. Obviously, I prefer the basic oil company because you get the migration bonus. But this is not a bad bonus. I mean, +3 industrialist approval is not a bad bonus. But you are giving up the migration bonus. But in return, you get the power plants. So, how am I supposed to judge this one other than just with the power plants and the industrialist approval bonus? It's hard to really judge. I know some people might not like the fact I'm about to give this a good rating. Maybe it doesn't deserve such a good rating. But, yeah. Let's bring up the icon list. Click. And click. Let's bring up our lovely, lovely tier list now. Boom. Here we go. Where would I put this? Well, is it a strong situational pick? Probably not. The location is kind of difficult to get to. It's really only useful for Mexico too. I'm going to give this a C tier. I think it's a weak situational pick. Obviously, it doesn't come until you get oil. I don't think it deserves to be like super duper strong considered. I mean, even power plants, despite the fact they're really hard to get for in a decent company, yeah, it's not that good. It's nice to have, especially in the late game where you have nothing else to pick. Usually, for your final pick, you're probably just picking something you don't particularly care about anyways. This pretty much fits right into that mold. This is going to be your last pick in the game. That's what I would call this. It's a weak situational pick because it's literally your last pick of the game. You're just gonna forget about it, set and forget. Yeah, you're not getting the migration bonuses, but at least you get a little bit of a bonus towards your industrialist. That's nice. Everything else is just kind of meh, but at least you get bonuses to your power plants, and you're going to be building a lot of power plants in the end game if you're really, really quick at building up your construction. So Mexico is not that hard of a country. If you can keep the United States at bay, you will probably be in the 10,000, 20,000 region for construction, and you're going to be building a bajillion power plants to make up for that fact. And oh my goodness, this company can actually really help out for that. But beyond that, I don't consider it super duper weak. I don't consider it bad. I don't consider it better than this. It probably belongs in D tier. Most people would probably say it does belong in D tier. But you know what? I think it deserves to be considered a weak situational pick if you're playing as Mexico. Well, here we go again. Another company that I just don't think is worth picking. And the reason why I state that is because it's effectively taking the benefits of other existing basic companies and making them kind of worse. Just for the fact that you can get a little bit extra coverage out of it. Putting coal mine and iron mines on steel mill. I mean, that sounds good on paper, but believe it or not, it's not that good because then you're going to have overlap issues and you're going to have a hard time finding a tool company that doesn't force you to take either iron or coal, or doesn't have it as its secondary. There aren't that many tool companies like that out there, so this is kind of a redundant company. I consider these redundant companies, and yeah, refined steel is nice, but you can get that already, and you can get a plus 5% state construction bonus from that. So the basic company is just better, especially when you wombo combo it with the basic tool company. Obviously, you can't wombo combo this with the basic tool company, and you're gonna have to find a flavored version of it out there that will meet the needs, and there really aren't that many out there, and you will have to conquer to get access to them. So, is this a good company as a result of that? No. No, it's not. The throughput bonus is very nice for iron, especially iron in the late game. Iron in the late game has so many throughput issues that you're never going to have enough iron. You're always going to be screaming for more. Yeah, the infrastructure from the railway building throughput is kind of nice, but again, is it worth screwing up the basic wombo combo of steel and tools? No. No, it's not. If you're going to ignore tools, if you're somebody who absolutely hates tools, yeah, this is a good company then. If you're one of the people out there who is just completely biased against prestige tools. You think that picking the tool company is just a stupid idea. You'll never want to conquer Belgium for the best tool company in the game. Yeah, yeah, fine, sure, whatever. But that's the only time that I can consider this to be a good pick. Otherwise, just take the basic. That's all there is to it. So we're gonna swap off to icons right now. Click, and we're gonna bring that up. Click, and now we're going to go. Oh, I forgot to pronounce it, didn't I? The Fundidora di Ferro e Acero de Monterrey. I hope I didn't bastardize that for you guys, but obviously I had to give it a try, otherwise people would complain about it. Oh, you deliberately ignored that one. Why would you do that? How could you? How could you? Yes, how could I indeed? Anyhow, here we go. Yet another D ranker. My goodness, this list has so many D tiers, it's not even funny. What is it about America? We're not going to start seeing a whole bunch of S tiers until we finally get to the United States, because every other country just doesn't get it. It's terrible how they treat every other country and give America everything great. What a joke. Here we go with the La Rosada. This one is another interesting company, and believe it or not, I don't consider this to be a horrible, horrible company. Once again, you're getting refined steel, but the difference between this one and all the other garbage versions of the refined steel out there is the spread, okay? You're still getting your baseline here with steel mills and iron mines, which means you're effectively getting what you would get with the basic steel. But here's the thing. On top of that, you get your arms industries covered. That's actually really good, because a lot of games you're probably not going to want to take army industries, and at the same time, you're probably still going to take the tool company, and this actually works with the tool company, believe it or not. You're not wasting anything. There's no overlap. Yeah, you give up the 5% state construction efficiency, and instead you get 5% defense, and believe it or not, that 10% iron mines throughput is very, very nice for iron mines, and you still get your refined steel. So you know what? This is literally just the steel mill, the basic steel, except better. You're just taking the basic steel and you're adding things to it instead of, overlapping things, or worse, taking away. I mean, the defense is nice, and it's technically an army corporation, but you know what? I don't think it is. I think it's just the steel mills, but better. And I already really, really like the basic steel. Usually I give it like a B or an A rank, but you know what? Because this is just better, state construction efficiency is really, really good. But again, the extra throughput towards your iron is going to be exceptional at the end game. You don't have to build any other iron stuff, any iron army stuff at this point. You got those two covered, and it's literally just you're doing extra coverage for a single building, for a single company, instead of having to do like a steel company, and then you have to do the basic arms company. Yeah, you're missing out on the 8% bonus from having like the high-powered small arms. Big whoop. I'm sorry, that's all I'm going to say. That's a big whoop. The bonuses are nice, but the profitability matters more. The coverage matters more. The lack of overlap matters more. That is why, believe it or not, this company is going to get an exceptional rating. An exceptional. You're going to disagree with this one probably. But here's the thing. Whenever I get a chance to build this company, I build it. I'm not kidding. If I get a chance, if I'm playing as a South American company and I take over Paraguay, I'm building it every single time. And for that reason, because I would go out of my way to conquer for this, I consider this a meta pick. Which means, as a meta pick, it is S tier. Weird, huh? That's pretty much 2 army companies that I've now put in the S tier. But again, they're army companies with exceptional coverage. There needs to be better coverage for army companies. These are the ones that do it right. Here we go. I literally have to do a second take here because I ended up swearing. This is how bad this company is, okay? I don't know what Paradox has against Bolivia, but they clearly have some grudge against Bolivia because this is another company that Bolivia ends up getting through Peru. And this is garbage. Pure, unadulterated trash. It's literally the basic logging company, except worse in every imaginable way, okay? Yeah, you get your rubber plantations, you get your logging camps, whoop-de-doo Basil, but you know what? Look at these bonuses, okay? Instead of getting the infrastructure bonuses from the basic logging company, you get plus 10% rubber industry employee mortality. What? So instead of getting a bonus, you get penalized. What were they thinking? What were they thinking? This is garbage. This is pure unadulterated garbage. Once again, I find myself in this company tier list for the Americas saying this might actually go down as one of the worst companies in the game. I wish I had a worse than F tier. Okay? I should have made a worse than F tier. I really, really should have. Let's bring up that icon list. Let's get that copied. Let's bring up our tier list. Click. And click. Once more. We're putting another company all the way over here so they don't stink up the other F tiers. That is how bad these companies are. They will stink up the rest of the F tiers. They need a triple Z tier. That is how bad these companies are. I might have to do an entire tier list just to see which one is the actual worst. That is how bad these companies are. I'm going to actually do that, okay? I'm not kidding. I'm going to do the triple S tier, double S tier, and single S tier list for all of the S tiers. And then afterwards, just for fun, I'm going to revisit all of the F tiers. I'm going to see which one is the worst of the worst. I'm willing to bet one of these companies is going to be top 5. I'm not even kidding. This is absolute wild how bad the Peruvian Amazon company is. Maybe worse than the United Fruit Company. That is how bad it is. I'm blown away. Alright, we have the Empresas Eléctricas Asociadas. Here is another company that is going to be coming extremely late in the game. You literally need electrical generation to be able to get this in the first place. Why, oh why does Paradox hate Bolivia? I'm sorry, this is not that good of a power plant company. Yeah, I know power plant companies are pretty rare. I mean, they're not exceptional, anyways. Power plants are not a particularly good building to have. The profitability is kind of iffy at best. I mean, the bonuses are very nice. Look at that. 5% state construction efficiency, that's nice. The infrastructure per 100k population is going to be very helpful in the end game. But is it worth taking a company for? No, especially since you don't even get oil with it like you do with some of the other electrical companies. No, you get coal. You already got coal covered by this point, okay? Who in the heck doesn't cover coal by the end game? I don't know. That's wild to me. You're going to go for the metal mining company at that point. You're going to go for, what, like the... You're probably going to go for the two, no, you're going to go for the steel company and probably put coal in that one, and then put, like, iron through tool at that point. There's so many other ways to get coal, and this one does not have any synergy as a result of that. So in spite of the fantastic bonuses that you would get for this company, the profitability is going to be pretty iffy to get. You might have a hard time actually getting these bonuses just from power plants alone. Yeah, you can make a bajillion power plants to make up for it, but my goodness, this is not a fun company. I'm not going to give this a good rating. I'm sorry, there are better electrical electrical companies out there. So we're going to bring that icon off. We're going to bring up our tier list. Click. And... okay. I'm not going to be devastatingly cruel to it. Yeah, it's an F tier as far as I'm concerned. There are better power plant companies out there. And this one, I wouldn't even pick if I was playing as Bolivia. I'm sorry. I would go conquer a better one if I was really desperate for a power plant company. There are so many better companies out there. This one just does not deserve to be to even be looked at. And once more, Bolivia gets crapped on. Wow, Paradox really doesn't like Bolivia. Here we go. We're finally, after all this time, getting into what I like to call the creme of the crop. The creme de la creme. The Carnegie Steel Company is, for all intents and purposes, the basic steel company, but better in every imaginable way. It's just better in every single imaginable way except for maybe the bonuses. But again, the bonuses are not something that you're really going to be picking companies for except for maybe like the paper company or the food company. So when it comes to steel, look at the coverage that you got here. You got your base coverage here. Yeah, you got overlap with coal mines, but it's actually really easy for you to get a better iron building through the states anyways. There are more options out there for tools for the states. You could probably overlook tools in this case, and you probably wouldn't even care at that point. And you get art industries too. Like, that's very rare, actually. There really aren't that many Arts Academy building types out there for companies, and Arts Academy are not bad anymore. Like, they're actually pretty good for profitability. If you corner the Arts Academy market, you're probably going to be making some decent money. It's not the greatest, obviously. There are way better ones out there, but it's not bottom tier anymore. It's not like shipyards or military shipyards or wine. It's I would say mid, but again, that's a 4th coverage on a steel company. That's pretty good. 4 coverages. Yeah, you're gonna have a little more difficult time when you take your iron company. Maybe you're just not gonna take the charter at that point, because I mean, you're gonna have either overlap with iron or coal at that point, and yeah, that sucks. But that's just how it is sometimes. You get your basic prestige, you get your lovely refined steel. That's always nice to have. Very easy to get, especially as the United States. The throughput bonuses are meh. I mean, the infrastructure bonuses you get from railway is kind of okay, but the shipyards is horrible. Beyond that, great company. I mean, this is a company I would actually conquer for, okay? I would go after Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's a great state anyways. It's one of the best states in the game. This makes it even better, okay? I'm serious. That's how much I like this company. I love Carnegie Steel. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. If I get a chance to take it, I am taking it every single time. I would go out of my way to conquer for it, because Pennsylvania is not that hard to take. It really isn't. So you know what? We get another S tier. Yay! Of course it's the United States that gets an S tier in its first shot. Go figure. Go figure. Here we go again. Right back to another arms industry, except this one is just bad. Bad. I don't know why people like this company. I guess it's because it has a very unique prestige good, the Colt revolvers, which really can't be copied by anybody else, so you're pretty much going to corner that market without even trying. And yeah, it's very easy to corner the arms market, but the arms market really isn't hyper profitable, so that's why I don't like army goods, to be honest. And you only get coverage of 2 army goods. You don't even get freaking artillery with it, you don't get explosives with it, you just get munitions and small arms. And you get 10% army offenses, which is really, really good. It's double the base, right? But again, you're giving up your artillery at that point. You're giving up coverage, and you get a little bonus on arms industry throughput. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. This is a terrible company. Terrible, okay? I never look at it. This one is one that I just outright ignore. I poo-poo it. People yell at me for poo-pooing it because for some reason they just love to take it. I don't get it. There's no value to this company. I would rather take the basic version, okay? I would rather take the basic version. At least you could probably put automobiles in there if you're not going to go for automobiles in Ford, but sheesh. There are so many other things you could do. So many other ways to get the exact same type of goods. Get army offense. Go conquer in Santiago, for crying out loud, if you really care that much about your army type buildings. At least that company is good. This one is just garbage, and I'm gonna give it a bad rating. So here we go. This will probably be my first real controversial rating. I don't know why people love this one, but they somehow do, and it just boggles my mind. Here we go. F tier. Don't take. It's not as bad as these companies, obviously, but it's nothing. This is not a company that you want. I don't even consider it a weak pick. I just consider it bad overall. There are better versions out there that are far easier to get as the United States. Just go conquer Santiago in Chile, okay? And you get a way better freaking company, okay? So, there you go. That's all I can say. Oh boy. I finally get to talk about probably my favorite company in the game. I love this company. If you get a chance to take this company, and it's really not that hard because all you have to do is take Michigan, which is, I mean, a bit of a pain, but I mean, it's worth it. If you're going to conquer into the United States, go for Michigan. And the reason why is because you want the Ford Motor Company. You want it. Okay, you get the basic coverage for your motor industry, you get rubber on top of that. That's gargantuan. But not only that, you get one of the few prestige automobile in the game. You can corner the entire automobile market without even trying. This company is super duper effective for it, because not only do you get throughput bonuses on your motor industries, you get the throughput bonuses on your automotive industries. Everything about this company is just fan-freaking-tastic. You take this company, you're looking at 2, maybe 3 million by the time you hit like 1910. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. This is such a powerful company that I would actually border gore my way just to take Michigan. I'll take Pennsylvania, obviously. I'll take New Jersey. I'll take Ohio, and then I'll take Michigan. If I'm in a single player game and I really don't feel like taking Fiat, and I'm gonna go for automobiles as my main industry, and I didn't take a country that has as a main industry, I'm gonna eat United States. I'm not even kidding. I will take on the juggernaut of the United States for this company. I've done it before. I'll do it again. I love this company. This company is absolutely fantastic. This is the best motor industry company in the game. It's better than Fiat, but it's slightly better than Fiat. Fiat's another really good motor industry company, but this one's just better. So this one gets like S tier, triple S tier, quadra S tier, quintuple S tier. I love this company. I cannot glaze it enough. Let's bring up the icons. Where is my lovely Ford Motor Company? I love Ford Motors. Maybe they were paid off. Maybe. Let's put this right here. Ford Motors in the S tier. Mwah. Isn't she a beaut? Whew, boy, this is probably the best electrical company in the game. It not only does it have the wonderful electric industries company in there, it has the power plants. On top of that, if you didn't get Ford, if you didn't get Fiat, you can cover your motor industries. Wow, this is a phenomenal, and I do mean phenomenal, company to have. Everything about it is just perfect. Not only do you get coverage for power plants, which is actually kind of hard to do sometimes, and not only get coverage for electrics, again, very hard to do because the basic version is just garbage. You get radiola radios, which is wow. You're literally you get the entire market to yourself, because generally, if you're going to take General Electric, you're probably getting it before every other country does. You're probably going to have radios before every other country does, and you're going to fully corner the market before they even get into the market. On top of that, you get 5% innovation and a 10% motor industry throughput bonus. General Electric is just the perfect wombo combo of synergy. Everything about it is just perfect. Even if you don't take the motor industries, you're still saving a charter at the end of the game. You're generally not going to have enough charters anyways by this point when you get this company. So missing out on a charter here is not the end of the world. Just these two alone make it better than every other version of the electric companies out there. This is the best electric company in the game that covers electric industries or power plants. This is by far the best. It's better than Philips. Why? Because I would rather corner the radio market, specifically because of how much radios are used with armies, and yeah, the innovation isn't as good, but on top of that, everything else is just so perfect about it. This is such a good company that I actually rate it almost on par with, maybe better than Philips. We'll see. I might have to rethink this about this one later. I might eat my words on this one later. But here's the thing. It's at least on par with Philips and Nokia. That's how good this is. It's at least on par with Philips and Nokia. I don't know who paid off Paradox to make this company this damn good, but somebody definitely paid them off. Wow. Let's get that icon up. Let's bring up our lovely little tier list. Click. And obviously this is going into the S tier. I would be crazy not to put this in the S tier. What a great company. Okay, here we go. The Lee Wilson and Company. Interesting little company. Now this one, I might get a little flack on, but I actually think this might be one of the only really good railway companies. There aren't that many out there in this game. I just really like this railway company, and the reason why is because it has so much coverage. It doesn't just waste your pick for logging camps, which means you're probably not going to take the pick from paper mill, or you're not going to take the pick from logging, basic logging, or home goods, or whatever else. If you're not going for those, you're definitely going to want to go for Lee Wilson and Company and get that railway in there, because the coverage is fantastic. You get prestige cotton, which is decent. It's not the best of the best, but it improves the throughput rate of your textile mills, which is very good, especially if you go for a textile mill company. It also improves a lot of other things that use textiles, particularly home goods in some situations with certain luxuries. It's not the end of the world. The bonuses are not the best of the best. The textile mill production throughput is nice to have, especially when you wombo combo it with the Sea Island cotton. The power plant's throughput bonus is nice to have. It's not something I'd go out of my way for. It's actually kind of a weird bonus. It's kind of out of the left field here. But again, everything about it is just genuinely good. Only problem is you got to go to Arkansas for it, and it's not really a state I really build up all that much, but it's nice to have. I can't poo-poo it. Do I consider it a meta? Would I go out of my way to conquer for it? Probably no. This is a nice to have it when you have it type company. It's not something you're going to go out of your way for. So for that reason alone, I think it's more situational than not, which means it gets a B tier. Yeah, it's strong. It's really good company, but it doesn't really deserve anything better than a B tier. I don't think it deserves to be in the A tier for that reason. So there you go, B tier for Lee Wilson. Alright, here we go again. Another company with railways in it. Another company that has a okay amount of coverage. If you're not going for the Panama Canal, you could probably take the ports and put them in there. What do I say about the Standard Oil? I can't say it's bad. I can't. This is not a bad company, to be honest. I mean, you get both oil and railways. If you're not going for the Lee Wilson company, if you're not going for the migration bonus from the basic oil, Standard Oil isn't a bad pick. It's not the greatest. I mean, it's got decent coverage, especially if you pick the ports up. If you couldn't get the canals, maybe you'll think about, if you couldn't get the canals and you don't want to get Lee Wilson and Company, which is actually a really good pick too, by the way, then maybe you'll be looking at Standard Oil, and then you don't have to get basic oil, because with basic oil, you're pretty much only going to have the oil rigs. Nobody ever takes the coal for that one. Yeah, that's decent coverage for an oil company. It really does have decent coverage. The throughput bonus is actually really nice, especially when you couple it with the extra throughput bonus that you get from having railways as a company. Everything kind of just adds up to a buttload of infrastructure. Everything about this is really nice. It's not a bad company at all. Everything is just... it's nice. It's nice. Do I consider it something I go out of my way to get? No. Like with the Lee Wilson company, I consider this a good company, but it's more one of those types of companies that you're probably going to take if you can take it. It's not something you're going to go out of your way to conquer for. But here's the thing. I don't think it's a bad company. I think it's actually kind of strong. So if you can get it, get it. If you're already conquering America and you just incidentally happen to have the access to Standard Oil and you don't already have a rail company, you don't already have the Panama or Suez Canal, take it. Put the ports in. You get the infrastructure bonuses on both your ports and your railways just from the throughput. Yeah, everything about this is really good, and you get the oil coverage, which you're gonna want pretty much at the end of the game anyways. So there's nothing hurting you from taking this. It's just I wouldn't go out of my way to take this. It's not like Russia's Baku or anything. Okay, it's just really good to have, and for that reason alone, I think it deserves to be considered a strong situational pick. Oh my god. This company is a joke. I'm sorry. As far as railway companies go, the coverage is decent, but the penalty is garbage. Minus 25% infamy decay is way worse than it sounds. This company is not worth spitting on. Yeah, you get a prestige good of the Gross Mikhail banana, whatever. Okay, fruit is not that profitable to begin with. I would not go out of my way to make a bajillion fruit, even if they get the prestige good and it's really easy to get a lot of trade off of. Even if you get a buttload of plantations throughput, no. Nothing about this company is worth it. This company needs to kill this infamy decay. You get rid of this infamy decay, then maybe it'll be a weak or even a strong situational pick. But that infamy decay is so horrible, okay, that it kills any purpose of taking this company. The only time you would ever take this company is for some infinitely weird reason. You're going over 100 infamy anyways, is like, say, the United States, and you really want to trade fruit? How are you trading if you're over 100 infamy anyways? So the wombo combo, there's no synergy here. There's no wombo combo. There's no purpose to this. There are better railway industries in the United States alone. Why would you take this overlap at that point? You could just go Standard Oil. You could go Lee Wilson. Why would you ever take the United Fruit Company except for that stupid achievement that you have to get this for? There's the only reason this company exists, and it's a punishment company. I don't understand the purpose of punishment companies that do not give you a benefit to offset the punishment. If there was an actual benefit to this company, sure, punish me away, okay? You want to make this company actually worthwhile, okay? What you need to do is you need to give 5 building types in here, not 3, where you get sugar and bananas and railways. No, you had better give me sugar, you better give me bananas, you better give me wheat, and you better give me groceries on top of that with railway. Give me 5 building types, then I'll consider this actually worth picking. But only in a peaceful gameplay, because again, that infamy decay is horrible. Just absolutely horrifying. But as it is right now, this is another company. Oh my goodness, we're doing a lot of companies today that do not just, oof. I'm gonna bring up that tier list now, boom. Bring up that tier list now, boom. And it's not worth spitting at. This belongs with the rest of the garbage. This is a Z tier. It's not ZZZ tier. It has some use, particularly the achievement. But beyond that, this is a Z tier. Prestige bananas are not worth it, I'm sorry. What the hell are they thinking? Prestige bananas? Are you kidding me? Really? That is your idea? You're giving me a minus 25 prestige bananas when General Electric exists, the Ford Motor Company exists, Carnegie Steel exists? Why would anybody want to waste a slot on their companies for this company, except for the achievement? That's all there is to it. Okay, here comes the William Crampton Sons Company, a company that I do not like. Yeah, you get a little bit of coverage. You technically covering 4 things, but of those 4 things, 2 of them are trash, 1 of them is bad, only 1 of them is good, and you can get it in better companies. So, yeah, artillery, motors, shipyards, and military shipyards. This company has no value. I'm sorry, the bonuses you get, the Navy bonuses, who cares? You don't even get a prestige good for it. Maybe if you could get like a prestige military shipyard good, that might make it better. Like a Superman of War, a Ship of the Line or something. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Maybe a better ironclad type out there. Maybe some real bonuses instead of plus flipping 5%. No, this is a garbage company. You want to disband it, okay? This company is a waste of a slot. I have no respect for it, no love for it. This company is garbage. It is not the worst company that the United States has. Obviously, the United Fruit Company is way worse, but it's a really, really close second. So let's bring that up. I have nothing else to say about it, so we're just going to get rid of it. Just bring up that tier list real quick. Ding dong ditch. And another F tier. Okay, hopefully there's no more F tiers in this because we have run out of room in the F tiers. Wow. Paradox does not like America, especially South America. My goodness, that's a lot of F tiers. What do you get when you take General Electric and you make it worse? Well, you get the Caribbean Petroleum Company. This is meh. I mean, it's better than basic oil. At least you get power plants with it. So it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst of the worst. Would I consider this a superly good company? Probably not. I might actually take basic oil rig specifically because the bonus is better. I mean, the +3 industrious approval is really nice. Again, it's like the I think like the Mexico version, the Aguila one. Yeah, it's nice to have, but there are better versions out there. There's better companies out there. Just, it's not something that I would go out of my way for. It's just an interestingly bad company, and it has overlap with another Venezuela company, which is the CA La Electricidad de Caracas, okay? With this one, you get another power plant, you get have motors or coal with it, but, I mean, the real benefit to this company, obviously, is the infrastructure, but we're not talking about that one right now. Again, it's weird how this has bad synergy, bad overlap, not particularly amazing bonuses. I'm probably just going to put it in the same ranking as Alaguela, because that's pretty much where it belongs. It's not something I would go out of my way for. I'd actually probably would take the basic oil company over this one just for the lovely migration bonus. The industrialist bonus is really nice to have, though. I'm not going to lie. That is pretty nice to have, but I guess it just depends on what you feel like. So I'm going to have to give this one a D tier. I don't hate it. I don't think it's garbage. I just don't love it. And when it comes to companies, you kind of don't want to take companies that you don't love, right? You kind of want ones that you think are going to be really profitable for you, going to make you a lot of money, make you a lot of good bonuses, a lot of good prestige goods. This one does none of that. Okay, we are on the final company. The CA La Electricidad de Caracas. What's there to say about this? This one has bad overlap. Again, I don't know what it is about South American companies. There's just very few companies in South America that have good overlap, very good coverage, very good bonuses. This one actually has exceptional bonuses, pretty much on par with the basic logging company. And you could probably wombo combo with the basic logging company and get a heck of a lot of infrastructure out of it. Unfortunately, you won't get this one until electrical generation, which kind of makes this a moot point. I mean, you're going to be building a bajillion railways anyways, so what's the point? Covering the power plants is nice. Unfortunately, there's overlap with the other frickin' Venezuela company, where the Caribbean Petroleum Company, where you have overlap of power plants here, so that sucks. You're going to have overlap of the motor industries. You'd rather get the automotive, the basic automobile one. With coal, again, there's so much overlap here, so many better companies out there to get this. I'm sorry, despite the fact that this has amazing bonuses and it does actually cover power plants, this one is a stinker. What is it with Paradox and hating on South America? I cannot believe how many bad companies South America has gotten. Take a look at this, okay? Now, it's not F tier. It actually does have some use, but not a whole heck of a lot. That is another D tier. Look at this. We only have 5 S tiers. We have a redonkulous amount of D and F tiers. It's absolutely bonkers. And most of those S tiers are frickin' United States, okay? 3 out of 6 S tiers are United States, and only 2 of them are in South America. Only 2. 4 of them are in North America, only 2 are in South America. What is going on? I don't get it. South America is just getting crapped on. Bolivia especially is getting crapped on. But, yeah, Venezuela isn't much better, are they? Alright, there we go. That is it for this lovely, lovely little tier list that we have created. I think I got it corrected. I did have La Rosada in the S tier accidentally. I don't think it actually does belong there. I think it's more of a B tier company than an A tier company or even an S tier company. However, I'm willing to bet there were some surprises in this list that you probably weren't expecting, particularly Santiago in Chile's Fábrica de Armas de la Nación. That is a great army company that does deserve its flowers. That's probably one that a lot of people have overlooked. If you're in a multiplayer game and you really need those bonuses, that's actually a really good company to take, because a lot of people don't even put any interest down in La Plata. We were playing a couple of multiplayer games a little earlier, and Spain took La Plata for free. Nobody even bothered intervening. We didn't even notice it. It's wild how people just ignore it until they're ready to get their own mandates up. My goodness, is Fábrica de Armas de la Nación amazing as a company. And everything else is probably what you expected, particularly these F tiers. Oh my god, there's so many F tiers in this run, especially from South America, especially poor Bolivia. Poor Bolivia got absolutely crapped on. I can't believe how much that they have sucked. They have so many companies, none of them are actually good. Between Bolivia and Peru, it's just garbage, 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 garbage. All four of them just bad. Maybe one of them's relatively okay. The Compañía de Salitres de Ferrocarril de Antofagasta. I'm sorry, it's just... my goodness. I don't know what's going on there, but it's just how it is. So I hope this list helped you guys. I'm literally... this is... 1 hour away from me releasing it at this point. I'm gonna have to force this out here with very minimal editing. I'm sorry about that, guys. I needed to get this video out as soon as possible. I worked on this for at least 20 hours and I'm out of time, so I gotta get this out now. Thank you for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. I appreciate all the support that I've been getting. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for watching this far. You guys are truly kings, and I hope you have a wonderful time playing Victoria 3. I hope you remember to give your loved ones an extra hug today, because you don't know if they're going to be here tomorrow. Everything about life is very random. Even the way that I'm talking is very random. So again, thank you again, guys. I appreciate you. Hail Hydra Cat.